afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your solo host for the Tuesday afternoon here, Riley Magnuson. My man Jeff Dawson is running all over town, so I am getting the keys to the kingdom, running things solo today. I believe this is the first show of the new week for ECSI. I could be wrong about that, so correct me if I'm wrong. But we've got a great week in store. We've got some NBA playoffs kicking off soon. Good evening, my friend Connor. How are you, my friend? NBA play-in games tonight, tomorrow, and then I believe the conclusion will be on Friday before things kick off over the weekend. So things heating up for the NBA. We'll have plenty of action coming your way with that this weekend, and I'll break down tonight's two play-in games. I believe it's 7-8 games on each side. Lakers and Timberwolves is the evening late cap, and then Hawks Heat is the first one up there. So we'll dive into those and then dive through some of the MLB games tonight. Got a few thoughts on a couple of them. We'll breeze through them real quick, and then we'll get out of here. As I say, it's going to be short and sweet with me on the solo bell. As I said, we've got nothing too crazy tonight, but a couple NBA games and a handful of MLB. Apologies, I cannot help anybody with NHL. I believe there is a big old slate tonight, or a decent-sized slate tonight, as that winds down, but I am not the NHL man. My NHL concerns right now are with the Blackhawks locking down the best odds here for the lottery for the Tankapalooza in the NHL there, and I've got a nice future with my man Patrick Kane in a New York Rangers uniform, so I will be cheering for those two things pretty singularly, and maybe we'll add something else for futures and the NHL. But to dive right into it, as I mentioned, two NBA games tonight, two NBA play-in games. We've got, as I mentioned, both on TNT, I believe, tonight, 6:30 my time, 7:30 East Coast time. Miami minus 5-point favorite at home over Atlanta tonight. Atlanta 41-41, Heat 44-38. This is the 7-8 game, so the winner will be the 7 seed playing the number 2 seed, which, if my numbers are correct, that would be against the Boston Celtics there for the first round. Loser will play the winner of the 9-10 game, and the winner of that game will play the number 1 seed Bucks. And then we'll dive into what the scenarios are for the West when we get there. But as far as tonight's game, that line seems to be a decent consensus all around the place at 5 line. I believe that's where it opened. Kind of split money each way. So I'm interested to see how this one goes. This Heat team is the better team, is the much more consistent team. This Hawks team has been all over the place all year long. Miami, after a slow start of the gates, Jeff and I, this was one of the teams. He was a little more vocal about this team. I was another one that we'll talk about tomorrow in the 9-10 game. But nonetheless, 44-38, they played a lot better down the stretch. Had a couple of random spots where they were kind of back and forth, a little wishy-washy. But at the end of the day, they're playing good at the right time right now. I know they won at least 4 of their last 5, if not better than that. Just looking at the last 5, 6 and 4 of the last 10. So 4-1 out of their last 5 games. So they're playing a lot better. This Hawks team obviously is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team. So you might get a fantastic Atlanta team, offensive effort coming out of the gates tonight. It's really hard to predict. So I would say it's not an Atlanta number. I would respect Atlanta if they were down 3.5, 3.5, even 4. Not necessarily a statement Heat number here, but I will lean towards the Heat getting the win on Miami-Boston first-round series if we're talking about what they would want. Obviously, Miami-Milwaukee in the first round wouldn't be bad, but a Miami-Boston series would get a lot more views. The most amount of views, so if you're playing that game, I do think the Heat will win this game tonight. It would not shock me if Atlanta shot the lights out and they Trae Young puts up 35, whatever we see, and they're in the winner's circle playing Boston. But at the end of the day, I'm going to lean towards the Heat. But as far as the spread is concerned, I think it could come down to it. This Atlanta team is going to play hard. They're not going to want to fall to that 9-10 game and play either Toronto or Chicago, two teams that they've matched up closely with all season long, kind of a coin flip as far as that is concerned. So They will get some rest after tonight's game, so I think it's Friday night, so they got a couple days of rest, so there's not any of back-to-back concerns or even one day off concerns where they're trying to maybe push their eggs into that basket. I think they will be playing, so I'm not touching it, I'm not playing it, but I do think Miami wins this one tonight. These numbers look pretty sharp to me. 228 is the total, 227.5 in some spots. As far as the season matchup, Miami took 3 out of 4 from them. Most games were pretty solid, actually. 106-98 victory for Miami in Atlanta. Atlanta gets the other win in January, 121-113 by 8. And then Miami wins by 8 points and 2 points at home. So these matchups have been pretty good. Miami obviously taking 3 out of 4. It's just a lean towards Miami winning, but nothing would really shock me on this one here. So moving on to the other one. Minnesota 8.5-point dogs at the Lakers, 42-40 Minnesota, 43-39 Lakers. This is the 7-8 game in the West. If whoever wins this game will be matched up with Memphis, 2-seed Memphis for the first round here. The loser will play the winner of New Orleans and OKC, and the winner of that will play Denver, the 1 seed there for the Western Conference first round there. Obviously, Minnesota, another reason why this line is kind of ballooning. No Rudy Gobert tonight. A lot of things over the years have came out about Rudy Gay and what type of teammate he is or how much guys like him, and I think that kind of showed the other day. If you didn't see it, altercation with Kyle Anderson, apparently very publicly in the huddle, and then potentially even into the locker room continued, whether it was halftime or after the game, I don't know, but he is, I believe, team suspended for the game. I don't know if it was the NBA suspended him. It might have even been the Wolves themselves suspended him. Regardless, he's not there tonight. Would have been a huge factor for this Lakers team, if I'm being totally honest. So that is why you're seeing the line all the way up to 8.5. A lot of people kind of laughing at this Wolves team and not really believing in them. So the 8.5 is definitely up there to get some, try and entice as much Wolves money as possible. This one did open down at 7, so if you're jumping into the Lakers, you're buying into an inflated line a little bit late here, so I'm going to stay away from that. I do think you will see the Lakers win this game. Nothing would surprise me, though. I'm not jumping into 8.5 with the Wolves or the plus 320. Rudy Gobert, you could say as much as you want about him. You could say he's overrated. That doesn't mean he wouldn't have helped in this game against this Lakers team. You do have a healthy, by all accounts, a healthy Karl-Anthony Towns, or at least active Karl-Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards is going to have to be really, really good tonight. But you're going to get a hard effort, I imagine, from LeBron and Anthony Davis here. So I'm going to lean towards the Lakers winning this game. It seems a little too easy for anyone that might be interested in this. I'm curious what the odds are for Miami, and I'm not suggesting to do this or saying that I'm going to do this, but I imagine there's going to be a lot of people trying to do the Miami and the Lakers parlay together. I don't know if that gets you really anywhere. Minus 118, so not the best odds on that. I like plus money if I'm slapping two teams together, but I think you're going to see both of those teams winning. But like I said, nothing would surprise me with that Heat game, so I'm not going to be doing that. It's never that easy. And again, like I said, if I'm slapping two teams together, I'd like at least even money there. But at the end of the day, I think you'll see both 7 seeds, both home teams taking it tonight. The 233 is the total for that Lakers game. And I could see that game going over. I not as good with NBA totals. I like team totals a little bit better, but I will lean towards that one going over. And being a lot of points in here. Not enough defense from Minnesota's side of things. And probably, a high-paced offensive effort from Minnesota on their end. So I'll go over as my play of this game here, but I am not touching it. So we will circle back tomorrow, whoever is on the show tomorrow or shows tomorrow, and obviously talk about the 2 games tomorrow. I got my Bulls on the road in Toronto for the 9-10 game in the East, hoping to play the loser of tonight's game and maybe sneaking into the playoffs there in that 8 spot. But and then OKC New Orleans should be a pretty good one. The late game tomorrow. We'll circle back to both of those tomorrow. Moving over to the MLB. I don't believe we've got any games off and rolling today. No, first one up will be my actually, I'm sorry. The first one up will be the Yankees in Cleveland. in Cleveland. Garrett Cole and Gaddis for this one. Garrett Cole so far, actually both these teams have been pretty good. 6-4 Yanks, 7-4 Cleveland. But Garrett Cole's been pretty good so far. I think only one run in each of his starts, if not maybe zero in one of them. Nonetheless, he's 2-0. This is start number 3 for him. If you're someone that likes betting against Garrett Cole, you're probably licking your chops as far as at some point he's going to have a rough outing, a regression start. And so I don't know if this is the spot that you're, beginning that train. I know a lot of people last year like betting against Garrett Cole in a lot of his starts, whether it's a bounce back spot or not, or a regression spot or not. Excuse me. This would be. I'm not jumping into it, but this one could be a spot where. I would like it to respect it a little bit more, especially with the 7-4 team. If it was even lower than -180, if I'm being honest, but with Gaddis on the mound, a total of 8.5. I think one of these guys is getting beaten up today. Maybe Garrett Cole is fantastic again, and he goes on a nice long run here of being, almost untouchable. But I think at some point you're going to see the wheels fall off and him struggle in an outing. Again, if I was forced to do it, that's probably what I would do in this game is take some Cleveland action. But at the end of the day, I'm going to back off of it a little bit here. The first 5 numbers for the Yankees, it's a little steeper, up to -205. Cleveland's numbers don't change too much there. But I will say I like Cleveland in this one to maybe not give a huge regression, big crooked number, but maybe 3-2 through 5 innings, and Cole gives up 3 runs here through 5 innings or something like that. That's where I'll go, but I'm not putting my money on it, so take that for what it's worth. Oakland and Baltimore will skip by. 2-8 Oakland, 5-5 Baltimore. Probably an inflated number there for Baltimore, but I'm not going to touch it. The one that I'm interested in, Miami and Philly. 4-7 Miami, 4-6 Philly. One of my concerns in this one is what Jeff and I always talk about. This Miami team is just offensively challenged. But the number here is, this one was a little stinky to me. Philly -140. It is down, corrected a little bit from -160, 170 at open. So I trying to respect the opening number. That does concern me a little bit more. But the matchup, obviously they're close in record now, 4-7, 4-6. But the perception of Philly, obviously a team that went to the World Series, only -140 at home with Nola on the mound, and a day after they just beat this Marlins team 15-13 yesterday with a total of 8. It was Sandy Alcantara on the mound for Miami, so obviously that was a surprise. I think Miami was even favored there, but to see only -140 after they just put that beat down on him with Nola on the mound, who is due for kind of a bounce back. He was all right his last time out. Hasn't been that great here, so you are kind of playing with a team that's a lot of times when you bet on them, their offense doesn't show up. And B, potentially you could see Nola rounding into form a little bit here. But I could see Nola continuing to struggle here for 1 or 2 more starts. On the flip side of it, you've got Luzardo, who's been really good through a couple of starts. Maybe you're concerned that he's due for a regression start, which I can understand. I think he is going to be just flat out really, really good and really consistent this year. So I am back in the Marlins, but it would not shock me if this one bites me in the butt with this Marlins team. I am a little too infatuated with them and what some of these pitching staffs can do, or what some of their pitching staff can do. I believe in Luzardo here. And this one flat out just stunk to me a little bit here. So I jumped in with the Marlins. Maybe you like the first 5 a little better if you're thinking you like Luzardo and you don't like Nola today and you think he continues to struggle a little bit. Maybe you jump to the first 5 or even first 5 plus a half with Miami if you're thinking the way I'm thinking. But if you don't agree with me, I can 100% understand. You move right on from that one there. So that was the biggest one that I saw there that was intriguing to me. The other one that I'll mention, and we can jump around a little bit. Seattle and Chicago is a tough one. I think it is kind of a coin flip. The Cubs are favored at home here against Flexen and the Mariners. Flexen has been his ERA looks okay right now. I think it's a flat 3. I'm just trying to pull him up real quick in his numbers because he's been okay. He's been dodging trouble, but they haven't been fantastic. 2 starts, 4 innings, 5 innings, total of 6 hits allowed, 3 earned runs total, but a handful of walks in each start, 3 and 2. So he has given base runners. He has given up base runners here. A little tricky to back Hayden Wesnecki here for the Cubs. That's definitely a question mark. He has not really proven himself much, and he was not great his first start out. So maybe you go if the over/under is 10. This one is in Chicago. I assume the wind might be blowing out of the park in this one. The wind is not overpowering, but there is some wind, and from what I see, it's left to right. So the 10.5 is. I really would have liked it to be a little bit lower than that. Without any wind, and we're just picking off. Maybe these pitchers not having a great night. I believe last night the Cubs had some type of walk. I didn't completely see it. I've got too many Cubs fans in my Twitter feed that I try to ignore. But 3-2 win after the Mariners tied up in the ninth, I think, is what happened. I don't know how many innings it went last night, but again, Cubs are playing solid right now, at least pitching and defense. So I could see their defense or pitching regressing tonight, and I could see their offense putting up a few runs on Flexen tonight. And him actually getting into trouble and giving up some runs if he gives up some base runners here tonight. But the 10.5 is pretty damn high. So I will lean towards the over and maybe a 7-6 type game or 8-6 or maybe one of these teams goes big and the other one only has a few. But I'll lean towards the over in this one. I'll leave it on the table, but I'll lean towards the over on this one. If anyone else has any questions or any thoughts on any other games, feel free. There's a few other games with some pitching matchups where you've got a pretty heavily favored pitcher. Another one that maybe it's time to. It's hard to. You never want to get in front of these trains, as Jeff Dawson likes to say, very, very smartly. His Red Sox are at Tampa, 10-0 Tampa with Shane McClanahan on the mound, only minus 175, 180. So a little concerning there. This could be, based off of that, this might be the time where you get some regression or, maybe a bad start from McClanahan or something along those lines where that causes the Rays to finally drop one. They were 10-0, but with McClanahan on the mound, having been really solid through 2 starts, total of 12 innings, only 9 hits, 2 earned runs allowed, no homers. A handful of walks his last time out, so maybe you think that kind of carries over. 4 walks over 6 innings, 5 hits, only give up 2 runs. That was against Washington. Now you face a Red Sox lineup, who he has obviously seen a lot, but you face a Red Sox offense that's putting up a few more runs than obviously that Washington team. Maybe you could see this Red Sox offense getting to him a little bit. That one I would definitely beware. If you've been cashing 10 straight tickets or 8 out of 10 tickets with this Tampa team so far, then obviously you're going to, do what you do with this team if you feel like they're going to keep it rolling. But I would, if you're trying to jump in now, I would absolutely buyer beware. And B, if you're trying to find the spot to eventually start seeing some regression from Tampa Bay, maybe this is the time. But as we've seen with baseball, a lot of times, as Jeff likes to say, and, him and I had a lot of success with it last year. I don't want to take his strategy with this, but a team like this that's won this many in a row, when they lose one, oftentimes they lose 2 in a row. So if you want to wait for them to finally lose, then they might lose 2 in a row. But I do feel fairly comfortable saying this Rays team might lose. You can get over 3.5 for Boston at plus money. Maybe that's the route you want to go if you think Tampa is due for some regression, or McClanahan himself is due for some regression. Whitlock on the mound for the Red Sox. I think this is his first start or first outing of the year. So maybe you're a little concerned about that. But at the very least, buyer beware on this Tampa team tonight. They are due for a loss here eventually. They've been way too hot. And I would respect their numbers a lot more with McClanahan on the mound if it was up over minus 200 easy there. So, and a 1-0 win yesterday against Boston, I could absolutely see Boston's offense bouncing back there. So I am, the more I'm talking about it, I'm talking myself into maybe a Boston team total tonight. So, without further ado, let's see if there's any other games here and we can get out of it. Like I said, you got Manoah on the mound for Toronto, but that's a big number. I know someone else, DeGrom on the mound for Texas, that's a big number. Braves, Reds, that's a pretty big number there. Colorado at home against St. Louis. St. Louis a favorite there. Obviously, you got the home team rocks, but you got a Kyle Freeland who is due for some regression. So you're either taking the home team rocks at plus money, or you're fading away on Kyle Freeland pretty comfortably there. So whichever angle, maybe you can take a bite out of that one. Ohtani, biggest number on the board tonight, 325 or maybe down to 315 there against a Gray and the Nats. Nats 4-7, so they've been better than what they might be expected to be, but obviously not a very good offense there. And you got Ohtani in a spot where Angels have lost their last 2, so they are absolutely looking for a win there. Milwaukee and Arizona, both teams have been pretty good. Milwaukee, Corbin Burns versus Merrill Kelly. Burns has not been very good yet. Let me double check what his, I believe this will be start number 3 for him. Yeah, 2 starts so far, not very good. So maybe you're expecting a big bounce back from Corbin Burns, or you want to wait for a bounce back from Corbin Burns before you start firing away on him. They are the road favorite in this game. 7-3 Brewers at the 7-4 Arizona Diamondbacks. So that one's a little tricky. Arizona 4 wins in a row, all at home. They are home again tonight. 3-0 win yesterday against Milwaukee. So maybe you see Milwaukee's offense bouncing back. Their offense has been back and forth. It probably will be all season long, honestly. But going to be an interesting game. I guess I'll lean towards Burns and the Brewers bouncing back, but I'll leave that one. That one could be a really good one there. And then last one up on the evening is Dodgers and Giants. Dodgers minus 165. May versus Wood. May's been pretty good so far through, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 starts. Wood's been all right. Nothing special by any means. But this Dodgers team gets a win yesterday, 9-1. So I would like this one. I guess I'm going to say buyer beware on the Dodgers tonight. This one, I'd feel a little more comfortable if they were a bigger favorite. But, no ace pitcher on the mound for them necessarily there. So that is what I've got here for the MLB. Really, the 2 that I was interested in is the Marlins, but obviously you got to tread lightly. Maybe if you like fading Garrett Cole, maybe today's your day, and then maybe some regression time for the Rays. But if you don't want to get in front of that train, I can understand that. So nothing crazy out of the MLB for me. And aside from that, I believe we will move along with the show and the week here. I am not sure what we've got going on tomorrow. I know Jeff's got some shows tomorrow. I believe I will be back tomorrow afternoon for the Bell to talk some Bulls basketball. Bulls at Toronto, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, trying to get into the play-in game, the 8th seed play-in game if they win that one. So I'll be fired up for that one, I think, depending on my optimism level for the Bulls there. But without further ado, let's get out of here. Best of luck if you've got anything going on for whether it's basketball or baseball, NHL, or anything else that is on the board tonight. Please wager responsibly. I unfortunately don't know Jeff's sermon that is very important, but I should. But I will say gamble responsibly, know your limits. We want to see you here in 2023 and beyond. There is a phone number to call if you need help. Ask for help if you need it. So without further ado, best of luck tonight. Go Bulls tomorrow, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by, everybody.